Hey everyone, welcome back to Play Casket with your hosts Perock the Goblin
and Ghost your co-host.
And this week we're going to talk about some really crappy things in video games, but they're crappy in a good way sometimes.
Episode 42, Tastes Like Jank.
Yep, all the jankiness that you've had experienced in some game, somewhere, some way you've played. Maybe you've looked at a Bethesda once. That's a jank. Everything in Bethesda is janky. So, basically, we're going to go ahead and kind of elaborate. What is janky? What do you think is janky when we're talking about janky games?
Personally, I think it's more like rigid rules or controls, but it's still fun, and you're willing to put up with it despite it being like imperfect, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So
the more I look at mine, it's kind of like unintended consequences of development focuses, kind of like glitches in a way, but the game is still completable. The game's still functioning. It does not break. It does not become unplayable. It does not break the system, but it still has such weird experiences that sometimes might actually influence you to not play the game anymore, or it might actually be the reason why you keep playing because you're curious of all the weird crap Skyrim's going to do again.
Or Fallout. And it randomly crashes, but you put up with it anyways.
Yep. So basically that's what janky is. But let's start off with a good positive vibe. And what is good jank? What is some good jank that you've experienced?
Getting over it. I love that game.
I almost feel like that is intentional jank. Like that game, they had some small like test and like fuck it, let's just use that. Like we're not gonna do anything else. Just put some crap together, put some assets together, and just call it a game.
Well, I remember the creator said he based it off of a 6E hiking, which is like the same type of thing too, where it's really really fucking hard, but it's possible to beat. Getting over it is just like a more improved version, but I really like it just because you have to really really refine your skills on it. But yeah, seeing speedrunners just like tear through it, it's like, oh man, it's not it kind of makes it feel cheap, but at the same time you're beating your own personal goals, I guess. So
yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So basically, like a lot of jank, the way I see it, a lot of jank is what speedrunners use quite often to make the game complete faster.
Oh, okay.
You know, like I think that's where a lot of jank is. Basically, it's a funner way to say glitches that aren't just breaking, or what's a good way to say it? Like that aren't ones you take advantage of to make your game a hell of a lot easier. I think jank is sometimes just weird. Sometimes it just causes some issues, but some other janks are ones that are like, okay, you know what? That was funny. Has no effect on my game, but I want to see what else I can do. You know, like I feel like there's stuff like that. So, one of my good janks is actually, like, I think helped make an entire genre popular. And that's Melee's L canceling or jump canceling and wave dashing.
yeah,
That stuff was not intended.
Yeah.
It was literally a glitch system, right?
yeah,
And because of that, though, there was like an extra layer of, I wouldn't say refinement, but just an elitism in which the professional version of Melee players and stuff like that wanted to get themselves into. Like that, like you either knew that or you just didn't play the game.
yeah,
Like that was just how they were. And because of that, and because of how open and how elitist they were, and that's why that trait kind of sticks to them today. Stereotype sticks to them today. It's because it was such a big forefront thing for Melee players and stuff. But because Brawl decided to kind of find ways to solve that and like go on further without like wave dashing and such, people craved wave dashing and L canceling and stuff that other platform fighters came out of that rubble and actually made a game that would either benefit from it, or they did it and they had their own unique jank.
yeah,
So stuff like Rivals of Aether, Brawlout, Brawlhalla, several of these new platform fighters that are coming out from licensed cartoon companies and stuff now. That's fun. I think is what's really going on.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what's happening, and the whole platform fighter is becoming far more popular because of that.
Yeah.
I do think that Jank made Melee so much more provocative that it made people like two different like camps of markets to appeal to in the platform fighter genre.
Yeah.
Because platform fighters came out long before Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers just popularized it, kind of like Battle Royale in Fortnite, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that Jank allowed people to become new, like have more nuanced mechanics and stuff that were unintended at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like blocking and stuff in fighting games, and eventually they just incorporated it.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting stuff.
Well, this brings me back to Street Fighter 2, yeah, because move canceling was a glitch, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then they found out it added an extra layer and made him a lot more dynamic. So they're like, oh, no, we meant to put that in Street Fighter. Yeah.
I remember like, no, that wasn't it. And then like they were trying to find people and like tell people, hey, don't talk about it. And then they eventually like, yeah, no, we were totally the geniuses behind it. No, you just fucked up. Shut up. But you used that fuck up to actually make something out of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, like let's be real here. Like at least admit to that type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. Anyway.
I would say another one would be horror games.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly like, what is it? The classic ones like Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Because like the way your character controls is what makes the game more fun and dynamic, I think. Because if they moved, if they had more freedom of movement as they were attacking, it wouldn't feel like a horror game. You'd just be attacking random creatures and solving puzzles. But because it's like really rigid and like you're super limited to how you can maneuver in combat, it makes it really it makes it more tense.
It adds a level of risk that like you put yourself in a very vulnerable position because you're not just Action Squad Joe fighting off legions of zombies and like all that because you had so much free reign. Yeah, I can see where that jank is coming from.
And that's why you could survive a Resident Evil apocalypse because you could run and shoot at the same time.
yeah, that's exactly what would happen. And then they're not that fast anyway, and you don't actually have to step up to the ladder and then climb.
Yeah,
like let's be real here. No, that'd be hilarious. That's actually kind of funny.
So,
but yeah, that's some good jank. And in fact, I think jank can overall like basically make a genre even better.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, like find out what things can make, like you said, horror games. What makes horror games more horrifying is like these risks that you are already vulnerable, and then you got these weird controls that just make you more of a sitting duck.
Yeah,
you know. So I think some of that shit does come up very interestingly. But now let's get to the nitty gritty. The bad jank, the dirt, the gross, the stuff that everybody wants to hear. Everything they're like, oh my god, why hadn't they talking about how horrifying these XYZ games are? How dare you?
Right.
That wasn't a gender, that was just a placate of just game examples.
Button controls, right?
Button controls. Yes, they were button controls. So, bad games, I'm going to go ahead and start with mine. It's kind of a little mix between two of them. Ghostbusters for the regular Nintendo and the original Turtles game for the regular Nintendo.
You mean Ghostbusters? Right?
Ghostbusters. Yeah, that one. Okay, so for some of you might not know, like this game obviously was kind of rushed out as a licensed game and stuff, which is fine. But it also was like, obviously they wanted to sell it off of the license and all that crap. So they have all that. But once you get to a certain level, some of the monsters load in before you can, because you have to load in. They move so fast, and you can't really do anything, that it is impossible to do and play the game beyond that point. Like, you can technically, like, they had to hack the game, like, 10, 15 years later to be able to beat it. You can beat it. Let's put it this way. It was so bad, even Game Genie didn't have a cheat for you to ignore it.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was so bad. That was just so bad. They're like, we're not going to try to fucking mess with that. Nuh-uh. Like, it was so bad that I didn't want to touch another like regular Nintendo game for a while.
Was it redeemable at least? Like, or no?
No,
Just
it was just genuinely bad. There was nothing you could do to salvage off of that.
Oh, man.
Okay, there wasn't like it wasn't like Battletoads where you beat that level. You can beat that level. It's redeemable when you beat that level. When you beat the speeder bike level, like you are known as a god. you could just beat it once. Like that was the myth. Like I beat it once, one time long ago. Like that's how a lot of people think.
Well, I remember playing with my friend, and the speeder bike didn't seem that hard. It seemed more like my teammate was more of a detriment.
Yeah. No, me and my
it-
brother have passed that level multiple times
Okay.
when we were kids, but it was because how many times we'd get to that point.
Yeah.
We died so much, but we played hours. But we knew we could pass it because you can eventually pass it. That's it. Pass it. You can pass it. Right?
What also reminds me
But-
about Lion King was also made for Blockbuster, so the people it doesn't eat quarters, but it eats up your rental time basically.
Yep.
So they made it
Yep.
difficultly or extremely difficult.
You can only rent
Purposely.
it a week. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you have to rent it another week and another week and another
Yeah.
week. Yep. Yep. I know that bit. I know that bit of it. I remember when the Super Nintendo came out and like my mom bought us it knowing that the Super Mario World was supposed to be a whole new thing, and we beat it in under 2 hours after just like destroying every level. Like we even unlocked the Star World universe thing and everything. Like yeah, we're done. Like, okay, next. Like that's literally how much me and my brother would like articulate how to beat games and stuff. So to beat Battletoads, that was just one of those things that like we could do. It was just so hard for even us to do that we're able to blow through something else that would have content.
Okay.
You know, it was just so unique us. But the other one is that Turtles NES. So a lot of people know about the dam level. You have to be very articulate where you're at and all that because the hit detection of all those like sea kelp electrical wire nonsense kills you, and it doesn't have a good hit detection. Like you might as well just die.
Oh, damn.
Like that's the. But we've gone through them. But it was so bad that trying to play that by myself. No, I'm not ever playing that game again. Like that game. Like I'll probably play it for you guys to watch me suffer, but for the life of me, I will not play that game for fun because there's no fun to be had. Like there's just so much bad jank to that I just like I can't do it. I can't do it, dude. I cannot do it. But yeah, no, that's my bad jank. How about your bad jank?
Okay, so the only one I could think of was Infinite Undiscovery. It's so
That's a beautiful title, Japan. Keep doing it. Just do
English.
another one.
I know, but I was just playing through
Infinite Undiscovery sequel Hyperloop.
even more to be discovered, infinitely
Undisclosed edition.
But yeah, just playing through the first tutorial stage, you couldn't change what you could lock onto. So, like in the beginning, it's like okay, this is manageable. It's just a RPG action RPG, and then you come across a beehive, and it's when it turns to hell because they're like, oh, attack the beehive so the bees stop spawning. Well, you can't toggle what you log onto, so you're infinitely
Infinitely untargetable.
yes, you're infinitely fighting bees, and then I aggroed the next hive, and there's like, I was like, just attack the beehive. Oh my god! And they just kept spawning, and I died. I was like, yeah, fuck this game. I stopped playing. Maybe it gets better, but I don't know. Let me get past the tutorial.
They'll throw some wasps in at you.
I know. But when you can't change targets, God, it's just wait until there's like a boss halfway through that he'll spawn like 50 guys and like beat the boss. Beat the boss.
beat the main fighter to win.
Yeah.
Imagine like a character like that in Smash Brothers where
Oh my
you have to fight the character but you can't get to him because you can't target him. That's hilarious.
So yeah, that's very infuriating jank.
That is not delicious jank. that jank sours. But yeah, so overall, I like what is your general opinion of jank? Like overall.
indifferent, but at the same time, there's more good jank than bad jank, and it allows people to innovate. So they're willing to take more risks, and like we get more good jank games than there are bad ones. So like you'll know when shit's bad, but if it's a good janky game, you're like, you know what, this is actually kind of interesting. So it makes them innovate and be more brave with what they put out, I guess.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you too. I do think, like, because of how big games are getting, it's going to be harder and harder not to not have jank.
Yeah.
Like, I just listed off a couple of Nintendo games, Lego Nintendo games. Like, jank's been around for quite some time. And I'm pretty sure anybody who makes a new Nintendo-like game right now that's from, like, you know, like Shovel Knight and stuff, I'm pretty sure Shovel Knight has some jank in there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just some stuff, either oversight or intended, or something just doesn't work with the build or something to that point, you know. But I think sometimes with the jank, we tend to ignore a lot of the stuff that's entertaining. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll find stuff like Red Dead Redemption or The Witcher 3 and stuff like that, what happens with Roach and stuff, like doing all this weird crap. We make jokes about it, but we have fun with the game so much that we don't look at it as actual genuine jank.
Yeah.
You know, and then on top of that, we will forget a lot of the stuff that could be a minor nuisance because the game's so good. Mm-hmm. Right? So I do think a lot of the stuff we see that we don't recognize as jank, you know, we just put it to the side.
Yeah.
You know, like I played Paladins just recently, and Paladins has a lot of weird jank in it. Sometimes it's entertaining and sometimes it's frustrating. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. It's a different situation. But I do think I don't think jank should be entirely accepted, but I do think when jank happens and people are having fun with it, people should analyze why.
Yeah.
Like, I do think jank will never go away. Like, theoretically, they will never go away. But at the same time, if we had the ability to do so, we might not understand or have accidental discoveries that we would have otherwise just enjoyed. And like, oh, we didn't know we could wave dash. Like, if wave dash wasn't a thing, would Ultimate still have the mass appeal now?
Yeah.
You know, like, obviously, probably, right? At least Smash Brothers would probably have a massive appeal now.
Yeah.
Like, regardless. But at the same time, would Rivals of the Ether even exist? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, okay.
Or Rushdown Revolt from the people who made the Project M mods and stuff. They're making a new one. That game wouldn't have existed because Project M wouldn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Because that was the only reason why it even existed, is because Brawl didn't play like Melee. Because of that jank. And it made this whole thing, and like literally this whole branch of stuff wouldn't have existed because of that. So I think it's kind of, I wouldn't say necessary, but it's necessary to really understand why it exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of impartial to it, because sometimes I have a lot of fun that I really shouldn't be having with the jank, but I know there's a lot of stuff that can really ruin a really good game.
Yeah.
Like a really good game.
Yeah.
And it just could just completely shit on all over it. But yeah, I would say that would probably be roughly about what I would say.
Okay.
Our thing. It's a short one, right?
Thumbs up.
But if you like us, if you like everything, feel free to comment below, like us, share us with other people, and
we will see you on the other side.
Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.